Hello, dear friends, and welcome to this video. I have my very special and dear friend Ali with her very beautiful fur princess Kitty. And when you hear Kitty, you probably would say, that's a kitty cat. But no, it's a very beautiful doggy. And actually, our story goes back to 2021 when we launched a podcast. And since then, Kitty and Ali and we have been friends. But today, Ali is going to share with us some wonderful tips and tricks about a lot of topics on, how you can train your fur baby, how you can participate in commercials and movies, and so much more. So I want to thank you very much for being here with us today.
Yep. Excited to be back and so proud of everything that you've done. It's just amazing. It's been, what was the date for the first year?
Well, it was March 3rd when we launched our podcast. We made it to top 10 in US. Now we are top 1%, in the world podcast listening shows. So we are growing. But again,
very good.
Thank you. Thank you. And, I'm very grateful to you because I had this idea. I'm like, I kept hearing from, everyone around me from PetPix community. Oh, we go to the show. And then, I kept hearing, oh, I would like to have my fur baby on a movie set or commercial. And I said, well, why not create a class where I can invite professional people like you and people with experience so they can share with us some really value tips if you are, pet parent, or just you want to go in, in this direction, at least to know, okay, some basic options we have.
Yes, definitely. And I don't think we would be where we are if you had not started, the whole PetPix. When we started doing her Instagram and putting out on Facebook and everything, you just upped our game so much more with all the the pictures, the way I started taking pictures and even started videoing. So, we couldn't have done it without you.
Thank you. Well, I'm very proud of, your growth and like everything what it, I'm really proud of everything what happened, over the past, 1 year since we are recording this video. And it's just really magnificent to see your growth. And I'm excited about today because I know that you're going to share. So can you tell people a little more about, and I'm actually going to share with people here so they know what you're going to learn. So I'm going to share one of the videos so they can see here, which I thought it's really incredible.
This was one of my most exciting videos I did. It was the third callback for a movie in Tennessee that they were looking at Kitty as the lead dog. It was she would have been titled the hero dog, and probably kind of at the level of Lassie or Red 1010 or any of those things. And she didn't get the part. German Shepherd beat her out because they wanted a German voice, and she doesn't have that. But over a period of almost 2 months, when I say callback, they would reach back out to us and say, can you show me this with Kitty? Can you show me that? And so I would put together these little videos. And on that one, particularly, she knew, okay, there's certain things like studio behaviors. I'm sorry. And those are just being able to have pretty much control of your dog, for it to be stable, for it to be able to sit in front of the camera, for it to be able to come and go and things like that. But this movie was wanting to see a lot more than that. And so I actually, just in the few minutes before I started taking this video of her, I went over the cue where you tell them to mark. And that's how I taught her how to dig. She's a good digger on her own, but to cue it, to make it a cue and for a movie is a big thing. And so she knew to do mark. And then I told her, okay, I gave her something that she likes to dig and bury and stuff. And so then I said dig. And so I connected it to dig. And that was just like 5-10 minutes before I took this.
Wow, this is
So
very
that's how quick
special.
she learns.
Wow.
That's our success a lot is because she's very smart.
Yeah,
So
she's
I don't know
very,
that that other dogs could learn that fast.
yeah.
But so that's the whole, when you watch the part of this video that says behind the scenes, it's showing you like those few, 4 or 5 times that I said mark, and she would go to the dirt and kind of pounce the dirt, and then you can see when it turned into dig. And that's how we were able to show them, because there was a scene in the movie where she steals a cell phone and she buries it. And and so that's what we were showing them. So this was the third callback for that movie.
Wow, this is really incredible. And then, and it's a huge accomplishment, but I want to go back to Q. Maybe some people may not know what it's Q. I mean, I had the honor
Mhm.
to record our podcast, so I kind of know, but for people who may not know what's Q, would you
Yeah,
please share with us?
sure. It in kind of traditional dog training, you make a command and stuff. And with the whole way that Kitty's been trained and everything that I do with her is like based on a friendship, a relationship. So I changed and it's become pretty much a studio thing also. When you're on set, you cue the dog. It's just like any actor or actress. You're cued to come into them when they start playing the music, so the cue is the command. You could also say like where a director would go action, but for studio behaviors, it is very important that the dog have silent cues. And so she's very trained also with hand signals. So because there's times where you can't say the word. So cue. Did that answer it?
Yeah, no, I think it's wonderful. And now, more people have the idea of what it means, because I'm sure that, again, not too many people knew. I think it's really great. And then again, I remember that video where, Kitty was actually opening the fridge. And I remember that you mentioned that they have few cues. So it took you a little long, and again, every fur baby takes goes through a process. So bottom
Yeah.
line, friends, it's that what we are trying to share with you right now, it's for you if you'd like your fur baby to become a trick pet, to be hired for the tricks, you go to a special training. And with this
Yes.
training, the way you communicate other, because I remember that you need to have a really great relationship. And you're going to say, but Vasi, you do, but this is a little more advanced type of relationship where you're one, and then with the cue or whatever is, it's the cue. And again, I don't know. That's what I remember you and I, when we interview each other, when we did our things before, it's with moving the hands, you give a command. And that's how
Right.
your pet, like you did, Katie was, putting the phone in the dirt and etc. So this exactly, it's kind of what cue means. And then you have to go to a special training to, to train your pet. And then for the one I'm talking where, Kitty went and opened the fridge, that was like, it took you a long time. There were, I think, like thank yous, right? It
Well,
was like,
for trick training, and that was the very last trick, which is called a complex trick, because there's complex parts to it. That was the one for her championship, and she was only 7 months old, and she knew every part of going to the icebox, opening it, getting the thing out, bringing it to me, and going back and closing it. But there was no way she was going to do that on one cue.
yeah,
you know,
it's a lot. Yes.
like the one cue would be go. And she would do all of those parts. And it's like, I was so discouraged because she was so close to getting the championship. Well, so she only needed one complex trick. So we moved to the complex trick called go to bed, where she goes to her little crate thing, and she opens it up, she goes in and she closes it. And so that was with one cue. So that's how she got her championship. To this day, I've never, like, for a movie, and for the movies we did, for the little videos we did for Instagram and Facebook, you know, those were in 2 or 3 cues because I just can't imagine doing
Yes.
that, you know, with 1 cue. But she, you know, for a movie, you don't, you know, most of the time they're going to break it up into different scenes. So, you know, go to the icebox, open the icebox. I mean, they got to know how to do that. That would be important. And that's that they don't have, for most movies, for most people that are casting animals, they don't necessarily have to know those kinds of tricks. That's part of the whole casting process. It's just that they've got to be at the level of really understanding cues and being very stable. And so everything you can think of that comes under stability, being able to sit and stay with lots of noises around them, you know, being able to come, you know, on cue, you know, all the basic things is the studio behaviors that they've got to have, you know, they have to have. But those specialty tricks like stealing the cell phone, or the next video will show you being in a round surrounded by a whole bunch of chickens. That was a big one. I had to show them that she could be stable with chickens. So that's our next video we're going to show here in a little bit.
Yes,
But,
and I am showing it right now here,
okay.
friends, so you can see what it is. It's pretty amazing. Okay.
Yeah, well, I was amazed. Lisa and Mary helped me do this.
And then we keep it the original so you can see it.
She's going, what? This is the first time she's ever even seen chickens.
Wow.
And so, you know, her natural ability would be to chase them or be scared. I was scared. One of these chickens hit me in the head, attacked my head.
Oh, wow. She's not moving. Look at this. She stays still.
Yeah.
Ah, poor chickens. This is hilarious. Oh my God. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah. So I had to show she was stable with chickens.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Wow. And I actually wanted to show also that that's kind of, you know, there was in a little bit, but I wanted to show you, you know, show to everyone this one too. That's really spectacular, my friends. Wow.
I have a whole video with the ATV where because that was kind of the end of one of the last scenes in the movie that she was up for is to be able to sit and ride in an ATV like that, and to also you know, get to the place they're going and then to jump out. I have a video of her sitting on the hood and doing all these different things, just showing them how stable she could be around something like that.
Really
yeah.
special. This is really incredible. Wow. So
Yeah.
you know, friends, you say it's possible. Again, it goes through the training. And then can you tell people, so like if they want to have their fur babies go through some training, can you just give them maybe some ideas if they never really went through training and then they don't know what to do?
Well, like we said, you talk about the basic things, you know, they've got to have those. And then I would just never stop training. And one of the greatest things I ever found was the do more with your dog, because they just keep adding, and you can do this through video and on Facebook. You can have mentors on Facebook. So the do more with your dog is some of the best training you could ever get. She got her championship through that.
Wow.
You know, so it gives them a lot, you know, they may not be asked to go to the icebox and get something, but they may be asked to open a door. So, you know, they don't have to know those things before they get cast, but it helps when they do. So
I love it.
The more you can get them used to a verbal communication and a hand signal communication, they're going to be further along. But the things that the animal casting, you know, talent agencies are looking for is the stability, the ability to sit with lots of noises around them and to not be distracted. In the watch, this thing where you take a treat and you hold it up here and you teach them to look in your eyes, to watch, to focus. And that's a big one. That's a big stable behavior that they need to have.
Really magnificent and so educational. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. And like, would you like maybe to share with people, because like you and I talked before we press the button record, friends. It's that the principles for movies and videos being on a set are kind of similar. So maybe would you mind to share some insights?
Sure. How are you referring to the similar? What's similar?
I mean, like you said that some of the things apply to movies and to commercials, like you mentioned that,
How so? Okay, yeah. The fact that there's a camera and that's the audience, and there might be 2 or 3 cameras, and her position, whether it's a commercial or a movie, can she sit? Can she mark? Can she come into the room, find the mark and mark is a really, really important studio behavior, whether it's a commercial or a movie, that you can do with a hand signal, and of course verbal too, is to mark. And so she finds that mark on the floor and she goes and stands there. That's a big one. And so
Wow.
obviously it would be the same, commercial on what I have found though recently, actually, I have my place here is land that movies come and film. So I have a
Mhm.
movie ranch, where I rent it out for film. And we just had a commercial shot for a clothing line just a couple of weeks ago. When you say commercial, it's not the same thing it used to be. And it's just like I started really realizing that, there's not a lot of TV commercials anymore. This is a print commercial with lots of stills with models that were here, but they also took drone videos, and drone videos is another subject we need to talk about. And in other videos, because they're putting it all over social media and they're playing videos. And it's a major brand, and maybe somewhere on a TV, there's probably a real commercial, but that's so much a less thing than social media, and being able to have these moving pictures on social media, these little snippets of video and lots of stills. So on their website, there's lots of videos.
Wow.
So that's really what a commercial is, as far as I can tell today. Almost everything that ever comes out here, they want to fly a drone. Then I did a whole thing with Kitty on a drone flying to show that she's very stable, and to give her a hand signal to look at the drone. So she's like,
Wow.
and she didn't bark at it. She didn't go, she wasn't scared of it, that kind of thing. So getting them a little used to drones is going to be a very important thing
For
for
the
them, because
future.
everyone's doing drones.
Yeah, the way things are shifting, I think it's really important. And I do agree with you, and that's really, it's important also, friends, the noises. Your babies need to get used to noises, because again, when it's drone, even if it's further away, still will be noises. Sometimes if you think of it wind and you say, oh, it's okay, but sometimes it needs to be very wind. And I'm guessing there will be, again, difference between when you do things on set indoors and when you do things on set outdoors. Also temperature
Absolutely.
differences as well. Sometimes you have to pretend that it's hot, but maybe it's already freezing. And again, depends of where you live around the world and what time of the year it is. But those are the things you need to kind of think of it. And your babies probably never would even have to experience this, but you have to, on the back of your mind, to know. And that was the idea why I wanted to create this class, is for you to know what possibly you may face. Because you also mentioned one very interesting thing, that a lot of times you are like on set because you don't want Kitty to be without your supervision. But as you mentioned to me prior to our recording, is that some organizations, they required for you to just hand your pet and they will handle the rest. So this means that your fur baby or babies need to be comfortable on the situation, so maybe like if you go on a fashion show, you may have the model walking your dog, or you may have the fur parent walking your dog. The same is when you go for commercials or movies. So
and that's something that you've got to be prepared for. When you reach out to the different animal talent agencies, there, you can find them on Facebook. You can just Google them, depending on what area of the country you're in. And you need to be able to talk to them and ask them what it is they require, and in what situations would they have to just hand over their animal to them, because there's some movies and commercials that are closed sets, which means they don't allow anyone extra to come on there. So if you're a trainer and in kind of set savvy, you can get on the set of a closed set. But you've got to be able to know how the animal talent agency is going to handle those things.
No, I
And
think great.
yeah, and you got to be able to trust them, with your dog, with your animal.
Yeah.
So
No, I'm so glad that you are talking about all of those stuff, because again, they are very important, because as we know, obviously your baby needs to be very friendly. I mean, if your baby has some anxieties, obviously, you just have to work on it if you could.
yeah.
And again, the best, dear friends, it's not that you don't know, but just things to consider. I also have find out from my point of view of a photographer, a lot of times the fur babies need to get used to the lighting, because as we know, movies and also commercial, if they're movies, not pictures, they're going to have these, constant lights. So the way
Right.
I would say for you to train your fur babies is just to have a light on, pointing at their eyes here and there, and slowly increase the time. I think that would be a good way for you to really teach your baby. But also interesting fact is that they may work with the different colors of the light. Sometimes it can be yellow because they are going to simulate that it's evening, and sometimes maybe like blue or pink or red, because they're trying to create drama the way we create drama in videos and movies and photography. It's to mix in these different colors of light. You have red and then you have blue, and so your babies needs to be able to handle this as well.
Right.
So just
Right.
do you agree with me?
Yes, totally. There's a lot of movement and changes. Also, one of the basic studio behaviors is the being able to call your dog, being able to have it off leash outside, and be able to have what they call recall, call her back, call the animal back. So
Wonderful.
it has to be stable in that.
Wonderful, wonderful. No, those are such a wonderful ideas, you're mentioning it. And I know that you and I, we can probably talk forever on these topics. But are there like any other tips you may would like to share with people?
The thing that I've done in actually how I've even gotten a nice relationship with several different talent agencies around the whole United States. We're willing to fly. We have the ability to go, and so we're not limited to just California or the West Coast. But creating the Facebook for them. Kitty has Kitty and her movie ranch, and she's also on my website for the filming locations. She has her own page on my website, and so all of that's connected. What my web person told me is the much more than your personal Facebook, but a page. Her page is the thing that interacts with your website and helps bump up both. They both feed off each other. So that gives you visibility. So you want to get them out there, the way they look, the way they act, everything they do. You want to try to highlight it in these little videos. And that's, where you come in, because you teach how to get a good picture, and you teach how to get a good video snippet. And that's been very important for us. I
Thank
need to
you.
make more postings. I haven't made enough postings lately.
It's okay. I know you have been busy, and so don't worry. But I remember you got the master class when you and we met.
Yes.
And it has been like, it's like, I remember like the pictures you sent me, and then a few days after you took the class and sent me new pictures. And I'm like, oh my gosh, such a big difference.
Yes.
Even Kitty, you can see her real colors and like everything else. It's
Yeah.
pretty.
And we even changed that when when, at first she was Instagram queen, and
Yes.
had clothes and doing brands and stuff. And then I really realized for movies, she's going to need to have more of that wild look. And so I don't know if you saw that, if you were scrolling through and saw that, one of the best ones I did was a whole thing of her running around. It was foggy outside, and I made it more sepia, the colors more,
Yes.
like Coyote, like wilderness, like, and not like a runway model. And and I've gotten a lot of compliments on that one, that she did great on that. She looked like a coyote.
No, wonderful. No, listen, this is important. And I'm so glad that we are talking about it. So practically, friends, your social media and having pictures and having video, it's crucial, and I would actually encourage people. I always, like, even when I teach businesses and I tell people, you find few people when you follow their, footprints. So I would encourage, make sure you follow, Ali and Kitty. And, sometimes you may say, okay, I like this star, this movie star. Let me look at their social media and analyze. So, but, Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and TikTok, and you may don't need to follow and have presence to all of those social media, but to try to be consistent and really highlight your fur baby or babies from a lot of different angles. Because when I photograph people who want to be an actor or models, always when the agents keep saying, I want to see the human or the pet in a different scenarios. So you want to see full body, you want to see close up, sideways, you want to see them indoors, outdoors, and just to see how they behave, because you have only few seconds or minutes to capture this producer or to capture this agency attention. And right.
When I would get the callbacks and even the initial call for the movie that was in Tennessee on the East Coast, and this went over a period of 2 months, and it's like any minute my cell phone could go off, and the casting director for them, the one that was like hiring her for the movies, would say, can you show me if Kitty's okay with chickens, or can you show me? And it's like, you got to go run out and do it right then. If you want to be on top of things, and that's what I did with the cell phone thing. And there were several other little ones that I already had snippets of that I just sent over real quick, so, it's what you do as a stage mom, I guess.
Yeah, you just have to be flexible, have everything handy, and
Yes,
pretty much,
organized.
that's how magic happens. You embrace it, and you have to understand you are the manager of your fur babies. So, you're not at that moment, and I don't know, you're probably going to tell us better, but you have to separate yourself as the parent and become the manager. I think they're two different professions.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. You have to start thinking, how do I market her?
Yes.
And what features do I need to show off?
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, that actually reminds me, because I have a client, she wants to hire me to photograph her doggy for her doggy goes and competition for her breed. And so this is slightly different, but it's kind of slightly the same. Everything is connected. And that's why I'm glad that this is conversational, educational video, friends. It's that the client, she sent me pictures of the magazine, and she said, so listen, Vasi, this is kind of what the rest of the world is doing. Let's figure out for us what will be, the most appropriate, approach. But bottom line was that, consider also having your baby published, also highlighting where your baby was published. For example, Vasi, I have been published in New York Times, and Marshall's used a little bit of my educational video on PetPix and other platforms. So those are, credentials you keep adding to, the bio of your fur baby. And so that's why even trying to be published also can really help you a lot. So do you agree? Have you faced this?
I do. Yeah. Any place, just, yeah, keep getting the exposure. It's very important.
Very, very important. Wow. Thank you very much. And are they like anything else you may would like to share with our people?
I can't think of anything right now. I know that this is the first of several we're going to do, so we
Yes.
will come back around and do more.
Yes. And friends, the truth is that, I mean, I was talking to Ali and I'm like, oh, listen, we can talk about this and this and this. And so, yeah, Ali will be back. So you'll be able to learn more from, her and I as well. And just before we are done with this video, can you tell people where they can find you?
Yeah, it's so hard. I got so many different links to things.
You can just say one, because anyway, we'll have to make sure everything is in the description of this video. So don't worry.
So Coastal Mountain Filming Locations is my website. And that's kind of what the same, sometimes I put in the S and sometimes I don't. Can't remember.
It's
and
okay.
So then it's Coastal Mountain Filming. Yeah, filming
it's
locations.
A lot, friends.
Same
Don't
thing
worry.
on Facebook.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing for Instagram.
Yeah. I'm very excited. I'm just going here to show actually to people. Give me a second. Okay.
And that first picture that you put up when we first, that's the website. And you can get to all the social medias through the website.
It's very beautiful.
So like in that first picture, and then up at the top on this one, you see Mallywood. And that's kind of another name for our place. When I first started, a very cool person came out and he stood on our mountain here looking out at the things, and he goes, "This is Mallywood. This is like Malibu back in the days when Hollywood started."
Oh wow.
And so we named it Mallywood.
I love it. Wow,
and
this is
so,
amazing.
because there's a coastal influence and it's lush and green.
Wow.
And
look at the view.
Never know it's here.
Oh my God, I'm sorry, but I need to see it. This is incredible. Wow, this is wow, look at this. Wow, this is fantastic. And imagine, friends, if your fur baby, being picked and you go to different location, but do you see how Kitty has different varieties of pictures as well? You can see her, but again, she is a trick dog. So she can be, your dog may be for commercials, like it's what you like, what works with your lifestyle, and then, reaching out to the right people. But at least I hope that after this video, each of you has a little more clarity on some of the things you're going to face, some of the things to make sure that you ask. So thank you again so much for being with us today in this video. Honestly, very educational, very inspirational. Thank you so much, Ali.
Thank you. Thanks again.
Yeah. See you soon. And thank you, friends. I hope this video was very educational for you. I personally learned a lot. And see you next time in our next video. This is Vasi. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.